never thought about my wedding. So when people started asking me, I was praying, Lord, you give me a person who's of your choice. I will not take up the choice in my hands. I will do your will. That was a commitment I made with my God when I entered World Vision. So I told Lord, I've given the choice to you, and it is through my parents you will bring in the person. So when people started asking me, I didn't know what to answer. Again, I started asking the Lord, Lord, what are you going to do with me? So by then it was 26. Then that 1 year, 26 to 27 year, people were truly bombarding. Then I realized what people were expecting. And some of the proposal came, and some of them started asking me directly. And I told them, please, if you are truly interested, come and meet my parents. They will be the deciding authority. But deep down in me, I was asking the Lord, Lord, how do I find your will for my life? So I started asking the Lord, Lord, you speak to me. So this was the journey I was having. Then Lord started speaking to me through Moses. How Moses, when you grew up in Hebrew 11:24, by faith Moses, when he was grown, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to suffer oppression with God's people rather than to experience the fleeting enjoyment of sin. So this verse became my life goal. So I told Lord, when you can give a life to Moses, though he killed, though he fled, Lord, you made him something different. Like that, Lord Jesus, I want my life to have an impact on this world instead of the world leaving a mark on me. So, Lord, but I don't know how I can do that. Uh, I give my life to you, and Lord, please help me. That was a very sincere prayer I made in one of the evening youth meeting in Jawashama. Paul Sdakarana was the preacher that day. Every Sunday we had a combined youth meeting every Sunday. I mean, not every Sunday, every first week of the month we had a combined youth meeting. So that was the message that day that went deep in me, and I told Lord, I commit my life today, and I want you to do something with my life. I know I'm not something great, but I give my life. So from that day, my perception about life, my desire for things, and my outlook, everything got changed. So like even though there were pitfalls, people coming and asking me, like I knew fully well I had given the choice to my God, that is through my parents. So like I will very politely I could tell my person who came and approached me, why don't you come and meet my parents? That kind of courage God gave me during those days. But one pressure was building up in office. All my seniors, known akkas and aunties, they were asking me, Deborah, why is that? Why is that your parents are quiet? But my parents were bringing so many proposals, but I was asking the Lord for His person. So I told my parents, unless God gives me a clear cut, what do I say, clear cut decision or speaks to me, I will not say yes to any person. So my parents also were very patient. So many proposal came, they will all come and see me and they'll say, when can we have wedding? When can we have wedding? So, but when I pray, God will not give me any answer. So like that, days pass by. Whereas all my family members, they became a little anxious, and they were telling like, because I was working, I was postponing my wedding. I had two younger sisters. So they came and asked me, why is that whichever proposal comes, you're telling like, I need to find God's will, all this you're telling, why don't you find one? So I just smiled at them. But I was praying that night, Lord, I wanted to do your will. Why is that you're not giving me answer? Why is that you're quiet, Lord? I need your presence in my life. Why is that things are becoming tougher in my life? I was just praying. Then I told my two sisters, see, I will not stand as a I will not stand as a barrier for your wedding. So I will speak to I'll speak to my dad to get you both married. I have no hard feeling. So I just spoke to my dad saying, please don't wait for me, but you can get my younger sister's marriage. I don't have any ill feeling about that. So their wedding was fixed, and it went on. It was in 1996. One sister's wedding was in June, the other sister's wedding was in July, to cut my story short. By then, in my office, it was a re-engineering where they asked us to go to different, they asked us to relocate from Chennai. So they had assigned me Bhubaneswar. So I was willing to, I was asking the Lord, should I go or what should I do? So then I started praying, Lord, at least to this, please answer me, because you're not telling me anything about settling of my life. At least this you need to tell me, Lord. But I want a clear answer from you. You need to speak to me, say go. So because in office, since the re-engineering was going on, they were preparing us as a Christian organization. Every time they shared from Abraham, he did not know where he was going. So like he trusted God. So that was a message day in and day out I was hearing. So I told the Lord, Lord, I do not want you to speak to me from Abraham's life, but something different. Whereas it has to be a verse where it will say go. So Lord was gracious enough, and that day when I went to church, first message, worship message finished, nothing was there, like nothing in the sense. There was no word go. So I told Lord, only two more message, then the communion. So there the message got over. Then the third message, the final message, when it came, they were sharing from okay, it was a message from Matthew 28:7. So where the disciple, Jesus was risen, and he was asking his disciple who came to the sepulchre to go and tell. So verse 7, go, Matthew chapter 28 verse 7, go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen. And then verse 28, the same chapter, Matthew 28:10, be not afraid, go tell my brethren that they go into Galilee. And chapter 20, same chapter, verse 19, go ye therefore and teach all the nation. So here, go, four times came. So I was thanking God, Lord, you're speaking to me so clearly. So now I know this is your will for me to move on with World Vision. Then when I came and shared with my parents, my dad was very open. He told, you can go. But whereas my mom was hesitant, and she told, you can get married and go to any part of the world, but I do not want you to go. So I didn't know what to do. I told, Lord, you told me very clearly, go. It's as per your as per your will. I want to go. But here I do not want to disobey my parents, because Ephesians 6:1 says, children, obey your parents, that is right in the Lord. So I do not want to go against my parents will, saying that I want to do my, I want to pursue my, I want to go with the world vision. So I told, Lord, if you're a God who can speak to me, now you need to convince my mother, especially. She herself should be able to tell me that you can go along with world vision. So when I was praying like that, the day came where sometimes she'll say, yeah, yeah, you can go. But suddenly she'll say, no, I will not send you. So she was just going back and forth. So a day came where the packers and movers, that lorry came, and all my things were ready. I told my mom, see, tell me now, do you want me to go or not? She told, yeah, with half-heartedly, she told, yeah, you can go. So the packers and movers, they took my box and all that, my belongings. Then when the lorry moved to the next street where the other colleague was there, again my mom was asking me, are you really going? So I told her, Ma, I took your permission before, I mean, your consent before sending the things. Tell me, even now it is not too late. The lorry is in next street. You can take it back. Then she was she told, okay. She never expected me to react in that manner. So she told, okay, you can go. She gave me her final word. So I went to Bhubaneswar, and I was working with World Vision. Then my last sister wedding was fixed. So I came down, and when I came down, it was really I was asking the Lord, Lord, because I committed to do your will, why is that? I have no answer for my life. There are so many proposal which was coming, all good proposal, wealthy family, everything is there, Lord. But only thing, you're not giving me an answer. So that was within me. I didn't know whom to go and consult, or I wasn't know how to express. I had a mentor, a God servant Akka. She's not from our fellowship, but she was from another fellowship. But she was always traveling. Most of the time, she will be abroad or somewhere ministering. So even to speak to her, I was finding little difficult. So I used to ask the Lord, Lord, I could come to you at any time. That's what your word says. So please give me an answer for this. So when I went for my younger sister's wedding, then my family members, they decided I should resign my job and come back to Chennai. So I didn't know what to do, but since it was a family decision, I had to say yes to that. So I just went back, gave my resignation on domestic ground. I'm just quitting my job, and my director in Bhubaneswar, he told, Debbie, have you thought about it? Is God asking you to leave the job? All those things he asked me. I told, yes, sir, but I need to get back home. So he prayed for me, and I told him, see, they want to settle me. That's the reason they are asking me to come back. So when I came back to Chennai, resigning my job, my parents had a few proposal, and they wanted me to decide. So I was having no clue of the proposal, but God, I just took it to the Lord. Even before that, when I went on transfer, the relative who came to my house to introduce me to the organization, her name is Jessie, and she had brought in a proposal. So When I went on transfer, she asked me, "What should I tell uh, uh, person?" So I told, "See, I'm not in a position to decide. You tell whatever you want." So she told, "Can I say no?" "Yeah, if you feel like that, you just say yes." No. So I just went on a transfer. So when I came back to Chennai, my sister got married. Then I was at home. Again, my director from Chennai office, she asked, called me to say, it was a courtesy call, and she was asking me, "Debbie, what are you doing at home?" I told, "I'm just killing my time." I told her. She told, "Why? What is this, Debbie? We want to experience people like you, and you have just quit the job and you have come back, and why don't you come and join World Vision as a contract person?" I told, "Okay, since it's boring, okay, I'll come and do that." So when I came back to World Vision, I had a very mixed feeling, asking the Lord, "Lord, what is this? I'm not able to decide on, and I have given the choice to you first, then my parents, and I want to do your will. So what is happening in my life?" I was asking the Lord, but I didn't know that God was working behind the screen. I just thank God for those formatting period, I should say. God had took me through, though it was painful, though it was every day it was a path of tears, because people will ask you why you are not settled. That is one. And they will question my parents, because since I was working, some of them they blame them, because she's working, you didn't want her to get married. But they didn't know that it was me who did not give yes to the proposals which came. But whereas my parents never told others that my daughter is the one who's not saying yes, but they just politely they told, "We'll pray about it." So when people came and saw, and when the proposal came, they will be following up, when can we have the wedding, and can we have the date. But one small thing was, we couldn't go in for the proposal. Like, in Jawashama, that the church where I was worshipping, my dad was used to take a active uh, participation. He used to preach. So, like the proposal which came, US and like a local, um, um, they were they wanted to have the wedding in a very grand manner, which is outside Jawashama. So if my dad has to conduct a wedding in other church, then he will not be given a permission to take part in the church. So I was praying, "Lord, my dad is a Hindu convert, and you had a purpose in bringing him to your fold. Now, for the sake of my wedding, if I have to, the Lord, compromise this. I do not want such wedding, but I want to do your will." So whenever I prayed for my uh, life to be settled, I had one prayer: "Lord, as let your will be done in heaven also in my life." That was a prayer I had for my life. So when my dad was didn't know how to go about, we started praying, fasting. And all my family members, they were little worried, because by then I was 28. So they were getting little panic. And also I was asking the Lord, "Lord, you want me to be single? What is your decision on this, Lord? Even if that is so, please reveal to me. Please speak to me regarding this." But God gave me verses encouraging me, saying again, uh, "They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength." So that was the verse which God gave me. And also during my second year, when I became very sick, God gave me one promise from Isaiah 43. That became my life. Um, light போடுங்கம்மா, கண்ணா. that became my life promise, where God says, since thou art precious in my sight, thou hast been honorable, and I have loved thee. Therefore will I give men for thee, and people for thy life. So this verse became um, my key verse in my life. So I was asking the Lord, Lord, you need to you need to, Lord, make things happen. So when I was at home and we were praying, myself, my parents, God opened a way. Like we did have a few proposal, and God brought in the same proposal which sometime back in 96 one of my colleague, which my relative had brought in. So when that proposal came, my dad prayed with him, and he felt he's a person. But now I had 5 proposal. I had to decide on this. So I made a very sincere prayer to God. Lord, whichever is the door, you are keeping it open. Only that you keep it open, Lord. All other doors, you please shut it, Lord. So when I made this prayer, my mom had a saying like, whoever is agreeing for this December, that is 1996 December, we will go with that, and all other proposal will drop in. So this when we had this 5 proposal, like parents were checking. Like one person, he was working in US, and he told like after 6 months, at least you need to take me. You need to take me. But he told like he wasn't very sure. So my dad told, okay. He just didn't want to go with that proposal. Like that, all the proposals, something or the other, got closed. Only one proposal was there, where their parents, a father told, like we will have the engagement in December, but whereas the wedding will be in May. So my mom straight away told, okay, we will drop this proposal too. But I didn't know what was in her mind when she told that. But I was thinking, Lord, what is that happening in my life? See, so many proposal, almost 30 to 35 proposal came, and all are good proposal. But why is that, Lord Jesus? You're not giving me your consent. What is that you're not giving me? But then I didn't understand. But later, I was able to understand that God was working behind the screen. Then the proposal which came from World Vision, like they could like they my parents were able to settle with that. And then when they decided on that, that then came a question in my mind. Lord, I waited all these years. Is that all you can give me? Because he was working for World Vision, and the whereas the other proposals were like whatever I asked the Lord, he just gave me. I wanted a professional and well settled person, and also like external appearance. Everything was good, but when my parents decided on this, it was told on me, and I was asking the Lord, "Is that all you can give me?" So though they proceeded, I was asking the Lord, Lord, I want to do your will. Lord, is that what you want me to do? So I spent restless night and day, like, Lord, is that all you can give me? So one afternoon when I was all alone in my room, God spoke to me very clearly, because I wasn't for that proposal. So God told me, you're praying to me, I will do your will. Let your will be done in my life. But when I'm asking you to do, you're not able to accept. So the voice was very clear. It was noontime when I got up and saw nobody was there. Then I just knelt down and I told Lord, if that is your will, I just surrender myself. So that is how I just gave myself. And when I knelt down, I told Lord, all my desires, all that what I wanted in my life, I give it in your hands. If this is the person whom you have appointed for me, because it is you who gave Adam to Eve. So, Lord, if it is your will, Lord, let it come to pass. When I surrendered myself, the joy flooded my heart, and then the wedding procedure, everything went on. But I had the three requests when I went for the wedding. I told Lord, I want the person to be a God-fearing person, and I want a person to be who's interested in your ministry, and a person who will give your time. Then a person who will love my family, who would be able to get gel with the children because I love children, and also a person who will be able to play some instrument. So these are the three things, Lord, I am asking you, but I will not let anybody know. Only to you I just ask these requests. So I just prayed and I told the Lord. Then my wedding was fixed on December 26th, 27th on 1996. And we got married. It was truly, I would say, the blessing of God, and the people who attend the wedding, they could truly feel the presence of God, and whoever came, they told it was a blessed wedding. It was a blessed wedding. Though it was not a very glamorous, it was a simple wedding, but I wanted the presence of the Lord to be in that wedding. So God answered my prayer and granted my desire. Then when we got married, my husband was Mr. Edwin. He was posted in Guwahati, and we went to Guwahati. So when I went there, I could discover, or I could see the unfolding of God's ways in my life. Since I was from a big family, and Edwin was from a different background, um, again that coping up was little difficult, because he was basically a quiet person, whereas in our house we were so happy, and like we used to share everything. My parents were there. It was really a difficult time for me, all alone at home. And also by then I had quit the World Vision job for the second time. So when I got married and went, I was asking the Lord, Lord, again you brought me, separated me from my family. So how am I going to have my life here? I do not know the language. I do not know anybody. Lord, how am I to? Is this the reward you want to give me to do your will, separating from my family? But that was a beautiful experience. I would recall later how God made us to gel with each other, the compatibility we had with each other. So whoever saw us, the World Vision couple, and also the families who saw us, and also EU Evangelical Union, we were taking part. Whoever we came across, they were able to see how God could build us together. And I myself was amazed after 3.5 years staying in Guwahati, Assam, how God led us each day. God was able to provide for us, and God was so gracious. And also, I made a prayer, Lord, for our needs, for our family needs. Though my parents can support us, give us money, we will not anybody to let them know what is our need. You need to provide, so that by that I'll know that I've done your will. And Lord, for every need you have to provide. So my husband was working. Then the director from that Assam office, he called my husband and I told there is a vacancy in our office. How about Debbie joining? But I wasn't prepared. Because it's a new environment, I need to cope up, and Assam was a very different climatical condition. I was from plain, and it was a hilly place, and I needed a little time. But since the offer was given, then I told my husband, I'll pray about it. If God is leading me or guiding me, I'll take up the job. So after my husband went, after his lunch, I knelt down and I was asking the Lord, I want you to speak to me. Should I be taking this job? So God very clearly spoke to me from not able to remember the reference now. You shall be a blessing. So when I read that verse, I told Lord, if I am going to be a blessing, and if you're sending me as a blessing, I will take up a job. So I joined the job, and I was there. We were there for 3.5 years, and then there was a vacancy in Chennai, and we came back to Chennai. So God was graciously provided all our needs, and also He was making every minute desires I had in me, God fulfilled. The spoken, the unspoken, all that what I had in my life, God fulfilled. And when we came back here, even that God made it so beautifully. He opened a door for us in Chennai. I got selected in the interview, but my husband just a 3 months back, he moved from accounts to audit department, and the audit director, she was able to accommodate him. So when God opens a door, I know no man can shut it. So like we could move to Chennai, and we had a very different lifestyle from our Assam life. So it was a very what do I say, social and involving, and it was more of little fluid life, I should say. Whereas in Assam, it was only God, and I was truly drawn to God very closely. And also, like, I knew that each step was ordained by God. Everything I could feel, and also I could have God's way through various verses. Like I could say from Psalm 119, God was speaking to me. Like every time when I went to Him for any need, every time when I asked Him, He was able to give me a verse and also show me from His word that He would guide me. So that kind of life. And I came down to Chennai, there was little fluidness because of this family. So many because of the family, so many, what do I say, functions, birthday party, all that gala time, I should say. So then again God brought me, put me back. I had little struggle in my office, because the department which I was working was going through some resource crunch. So so the bells were tightened. So that was the time God brought me back. So even in the office, God gave me His grace, and also I could perform well, and also whatever job they interested, I did it not for my superior. I knew there was a God who was watching over me. So whatever was interested, my director, my marketing director would say, when I give it to Debbie, I know it will be done. So that kind of testimony God enabled me to have. Then it was a time of what do I say? Very enjoyable time, I should say, because it was a Christian atmosphere. It was a known place. So I was praising God the way that He could bring me back. So should I need to go on for that, how God led us after our wedding. So when we came down here, we didn't know where to stay. So we we started praying, asking the Lord to guide us. So God in his mercy, he was able to guide us where we should be. So there was a house which my sister had taken for rent, and she had joined her husband who was in Muscat. So that house was kept empty, as though it is reserved for us even before we could come. So that was we had just put all our things in another house, but whereas we stayed in this house. So God was very, very graciously paving a way for all that what we needed, even before we could ask. So when we are in the will of God, when we are in the plan of God, he opens the door and no man can shut it. That is a lesson I learned, and also I could say I stand as a testimony. When you trust God in your life, when you give yourself to God, he is faithful to lead you in small things and also in a big thing. So every decision, myself and my husband. One more thing I forgot to tell you: when I got married, I never knew how to cook, because all along we had servants at home, we had a cook at home. But to my surprise, God made note of that need. My husband knew how to cook, because his mother was little sick. She was ailing, so she could teach her son the cooking. So that was very helpful. So all that, whatever I asked, all the request what I had deep within me, God was able to grant to me in his graciousness. And wherever I went, whether it is in Assam, or when we came back to Chennai, when we stood before people, truly God gave us the favor from people's eyes. So wherever we went, people were able to take us, and we were able to learn so many things from people. Because like even when the one thing which I want to mention here, see, I was attending Jehoshama from my childhood. I was from Jehoshama, but my husband was from CSI background. So we started attending Jehoshama for 2 years. Then my husband was not that comfortable in attending Jehoshama. So then we need to we prayed about changing the church. So we went to another church. We went to church. In Chennai we have a number of churches. Name it, you will have. So when we wanted to attend the other church, like I was finding it very, very difficult, because Joshua is the pattern I knew, Brother Buxing, that assembly pattern I knew. But God led us to a church where it was a truly church which was the spirit filled church, and also it helped us to grow and spiritually. So we after much prayer, one day my another sister of mine, she requested us to come and attend the evening service. So when we attended, truly God gave a confirmation that we could worship in that church. Like in that church message, I could I forgot the exact reference, but God was telling, wherever God plants you, you need to be fruit bearing. So I was asking the Lord, is this a place I should be worshiping? So I gave that last closing song was a confirmation, saying that the whole world will see you, and the testimony of yours, they will be able to glorify you. So that gave a confirmation to me. Then we started worshiping there. When we started worshiping that church, many things which I was asking the Lord, I could do it. I could learn and unlearn. Like in the previous church, I didn't know how to relate to people, but here, the church where I came, uh, where I started worshiping, like it was so different that I could see how Lord was leading us so that we could relate to people. And also in our walk of faith, it was a different dimension where we could exercise our faith. I knew the previous church where I was attending, I knew what is holiness, what is faith, but I didn't know how to exercise. But this place where we started worshiping, God gave us the opportunity to learn and also to practice the things what we learn. In regard to that, I want to mention one verse, Proverb 18 verse 21. And your tongue as a power of life and death. That verse came as very powerful to us. Like whatever we spoke, whatever we did, had a effect on others. Whether I'm building a person or I'm destroying the person, that verse gave me a new. It was an eye opener for me. So we could exercise that in our family life and also in the society, so that we started a small prayer group where we could bless people and also we could be a blessing. So till